How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Rainbow Star coming at you another Dokkan Battle video. And today I wanted to go over all of the Extreme Z Awakenings that are coming to global probably throughout the month of January. Because we actually have a lot, as you can tell by all the tabs that I have open. Because of the all of these guys that are getting awakened. The Ultimate Clash Awakenings. So we have the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, Nova Shenron, 2 Super Android 13s, Metal Cooler, what is his name? Evil Boo, and then I think this is the Metal Cooler movie, Super Saiyan Goku. But we also have STR Perfect Cell, who's getting his awakening as well. So before he awakens, all of his super attacks are able to raise his attack and defense, which is a 20%, 20% for each super attack, and then he has just 100% attack at the start of turn, which obviously isn't bad, but it's definitely not the best with having to depend on defensive viability just through super attacking. But after his EZA, he again raises attack and defense on an infinite stack, and then he causes immense damage to the enemy. Does he keep that? It is immense, but then in its mass. But then his self-destruct causes what is it? It causes supreme damage and recovers 10% HP. That's his is that his? Yes, that is his solar Kamehameha. Okay. Gotcha. So his immense damage, the immense damage modifier is his solar Kamehameha, which is at 12 and 10 key, and then he does give you 10% HP and supreme damage to all enemies with the self-destruct at 11 key, which can be hard to get sometimes, but it definitely is helpful during Super Battle Road and any type of fights that are like that. And his passive he keeps 100% attack, but then he also gets 50% defense at the start of turn, which is a very good start. Then he gets an additional 30% attack and defense with 6 or more key spheres, which can be difficult to get sometimes, but it's definitely not too bad, and it also helps out a lot because it does factor in differently. And then he gives all enemies attack and defense minus 20% at the start of turn when facing 2 or more enemies, which is very good when it comes to Super Battle Road. This guy works very well there, being able to lower the enemy's attack, being able to let everybody take a little bit less damage, and also being able to, if you can get his 11 key super, attack everybody and heal you a little bit. It definitely helps out a lot. So this guy is definitely a very powerful EZA, and he's also very good on the Legendary Goku event because of this stacking attack and defense. So besides him, we're just going to go down the line that is like this. So we have the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. So this guy, he starts off with just supreme damage, 80%, 90% attack and defense when your HP is 80% or below. Terrible. Having an HP restriction, and then when you're at full health and not being able to do anything is really, really bad. But once he EZAs, he becomes a incredibly strong defensive unit. So then once he EZAs, his super attack causes supreme damage and raises attack and defense by 30% for 6 turns. So that's a very solid start already. Then he keeps 90% attack and defense, but there's no HP restriction. And then he gets 15% defense, which each attack received up to 60%, which is extremely, extremely strong. And down here, we actually have the stats for what he is actually able to do with his defensive stats. So his additional defensive buff is calculated separately as a buff from his super attack. As a result, his maximum defensive boost from his passive is 204%. So up here, it only looks like 150, but it's actually over 200%. And it can reach 477.6%, including super attacks and not including additionals. So over 6 turns, if you're keeping him on rotation, and then he receives his 4 attacks that he needs to, that's his defensive stat. That's his defensive buff, which is insane, especially if you have him rainbowed and he's over 10,000 defense. But then if you get an additional super attack every turn, which is insane to think about, his defensive his max defensive stat is up to 751.2%, which is absolutely insane. This guy is the defensive monster. Again, very, very strong on the Legendary Goku event, especially him being AGL and being able to help against STRUI Goku. This guy is very, very strong. So we have Nova Shenron, who I'm actually not sure how good this guy is. I haven't looked him up in a little while. So he causes supreme damage and raises his attack for 3 turns on his original super attack, and then has 3 ki and 80 and 90% when facing one enemy. So it's actually not bad to begin with. But once he EZAs, he raises his attack for 6 turns, which is still solid. And then but this guy actually gets, I remember this now, he gets really good for the Shadow Dragon Saga team because he gets 90% attack and defense and 3 ki. So it makes him very easy to be able to super attack, especially with the GT link on that team. He'll be starting out basically with 11 ki, so it's an automatic super attack for him. And then he gives all allies 30% attack and defense. And think of the units that he's giving that to. Both LR Super Saiyan 4s, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, well, not LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, but regular Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. We will get an LR for him eventually, so that's going to be crazy, being able to give him 30% attack and defense. Omega Shenron is on there as well. I could see the physical Sin Shenron getting an EZA one day, and I feel like he could be very, very good for that team. We might get a Shadow Dragon LR for like Battlefield or something for that, which I think could be very, very good. The only thing that holds him back, he's only on 1 category team. But he is still a very, very strong unit, especially mainly because of that defensive buff. Then we have the Tech Android 13. This guy, he awakens from a free-to-play, just regular Android 13. It's a terrible grind, but I do believe they made it a bit easier for us, which is very, very nice. So he starts off supreme damage, lowering defense, and then gets 4 ki and 70% attack when ki is 8 or more, which isn't bad. So he only needs 8 ki to be able to super attack, which is very nice. But then he keeps he gets up to greatly lowering defense, which isn't really the best, but his passive does get a lot better. He still keeps the 4 ki and 80% attack and defense when your ki is 8 or more. He actually he goes up to actually 80% attack and defense instead of 70, but then he gets an additional 30% if there's 3 or more Android category allies on the team, which actually is not bad at all. That's 111%, but do they have the multiplier? No, it actually does keep normal. That doesn't it doesn't multiply indifferently. This guy is solid. He's definitely not crazy or anything like that, but the ability to super at 8 ki can be very, very helpful, especially with having like Fear and Faith, Shattering the Limit. You really don't need much. He only needs 2 ki to super, which is, again, a very strong ability that's similar to Int LR, just to Int EZA Gohan. It's very, he only needs 7 ki, so he's literally guaranteed to super attack. This guy is the guy that I'm most excited for because I already have this man rainbowed. So I'm very, very excited for this guy. He only gives 30%. He gives 30% attack to all allies and gives extreme class 2 ki, which is already a fairly solid passive. And he also greatly lowers defense on his super attack. But once he EZAs, he massively lowers defense, which is solid. He gives himself 50% attack and defense, which is very strong, being able to not take as much damage in that floating spot. But then he also gives all allies 30% attack, which he keeps, and the extreme class allies get 3 ki and 40% defense. So if you're running him on like a movie boss team or just an extreme team in general, he's giving the entire rotation 3 ki, 30% attack, and 40% defense, and is able to actually hit fairly decently himself because he has that 50% attack and defense with the passive buff. So he actually has like 80% attack and 90% defense, which is very solid. His links are also very, very good, being able to have Shocking Speed, Nightmare, Strongest Cleanse Space, Thirst for Conquest, Fear and Faith, Shattering the Limit. He's very good, especially on a the Wicked Bloodline team. Also, again, Conquest of Terror and the Target Goku categories, the STR Final Form Cooler, STR Cooler that awakens well, not awakens, but transforms into final form. This guy's extremely, extremely good on that team as well. So this is the second, what is it? Fusion Android 13 that we're getting. Originally, he's just really an orb changer with 50% attack and lowers enemy defense. He's really not the best. It took me forever to pull this guy, and then now I think I have all dupes for him. But then he actually changed up and becomes very solid. Massively lowers defense, changes tech to rainbow key spheres, which is what he keeps. Then he gets an additional 2 key per rainbow key sphere obtained, which is solid. Being able to get a little bit extra key in basically any way is definitely a very strong ability. Then he starts off with 50% attack and defense, which is great. And then he gets an additional 13% attack and defense per category ally on the team. That's unlimited. So he can get up to 7 times that, which is very, very strong. This guy's definitely a lot better than the tech one, and probably has a lot more usability as well. And he also helps, especially if you're running like int LR cell on the team. If you're running like extreme int, he's able to make orbs for LR cell. He's just a very, very strong unit that you're able to use on here. He also helps with basically any LRs, like on the artificial life form team, like the new LR cell, all 3 of the LR cells really, baby and all of them. He's a very, very strong unit. Then this guy is the one that's like, I think is like the most interesting, because he's kind of like an MVP level guy where he was absolute trash beforehand. I think this is the first unit my brother ever pulled. Well, the first SSR my brother ever pulled. He raised his attack for 3 turns, and he got 18,000, a base 18,000 attack when your HP is 99% or below, which is definitely a very odd ability. It's not really an ability that anybody else has, especially the flat buff. Having even the smallest type of HP restriction can be annoying. But once he awakens, he raises his attack for 6 turns, which is a lot more solid. He gets 90% attack and defense at the start of turn. All enemies attack and defense minus 20%, which makes him very good on something like Super Battle Road. Then he launches an additional super attack and a high chance of evading enemies' attack, including supers, when there's a Majin Buu Saga category enemy. So when you're fighting in the Majin Buu Saga category Super Battle Road, he gets 90% attack and defense. He launches 2 super attacks, being able to stack his defense like that. He lowers all enemies' attack and defense, allowing everybody to hit harder, as well as making the enemies hit weaker. And he also has a 50% chance to dodge. This guy is an MVP type of guy right here, and he's very, very strong, mainly in that setting, but also against any type of Majin Buu Saga category enemies, and will be very strong in like the upcoming stuff on JP and I guess on global, because we're moving into the Buu Saga, where we're getting a lot of Buu Saga type of new units and story events and everything like that. So this guy's going to be very strong there. And whenever we get an infinite Dragon Ball history for the Majin Buu Saga event, this guy's going to be very strong for there as well. And then the final boy, this guy's something else, boys. So he starts off with a 50% chance to stun enemies on his super attack, a flat buff of 10,000 and 5,000 to attack and defense when your HP is 50% or above, which isn't bad. That makes him usable, but he's definitely not very good. But once he EZAs, this guy's absolutely insane. So he gets a great chance to stun, which what is that, 2? Yeah, that's a 70% chance to stun, which is like some General Blue type of stuff, if you guys remember him. So he already has a 70% chance to stun on his super attack. Then he gets 2 key, 80% attack and defense, and a high chance to perform a crit when your HP is 50% or above. So he's stunning. He has a 70% chance to stun and a 50% chance to to get a critical hit with 2 key and 80% attack and defense. And then when your HP is 50% or below, he gets 3 key, 100%, and a great chance to perform a critical hit. This guy's insane. He's absolutely insane. I don't know what they were thinking doing this. Where is that that one link that they have down here with the 50% chance to stun for 2 turns. Oh, that's probably on here. Yes, it is. Okay, like I'd consider this guy the best out of all of these new EZAs, even STR Perfect Cell. I would probably rank this guy first, and then this guy. Well, I think these three, this Goku, Metal Cooler, and this Vegeta, and of course LR and STR Cell. I think they really set themselves apart when it comes to these new EZAs. Merge Zamasu just came out on JP and he's very strong. I feel like he's slightly underwhelming, that they could have made him a little bit better. Because I think they're a little bit hesitant to make these final few EZAs extremely powerful. Because, like, think of the units that they're EZAing. They have Merge Zamasu, they have the Int Trunks that they need to EZA, and then there's Physical Vegito Blue and AGL Rose, who, no matter what they do, they become some top tier units. Like Rose already having 100% attack and then giving 3 key to extreme class allies. They really don't, like, they give him 100% attack and defense, and then he gives 3 key in either defensive and then some type of defensive or attack buff as well for extreme class allies. He's broken. He's absolutely insane. And then Vegito Blue, they give him any type of attack and defense, already having counters and additional attacks. He's going to be insane. So just whatever they decide to do, and then including, if I actually let me pull up, whoops, Fierce Battle. Whenever they decide, well, obviously to load up, but whenever they decide to EZA this blue Vegeta, this guy's going to be pretty good too, because he already has that extreme class enemies attack and defense minus 20%. They give him 120% attack and defense, and then up this to like 30 or 40%. This guy's insane too. Like these guys are just going to be absolutely crazy. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about all these EZAs. Which one's your favorite? If you guys are ready, if you have all of these guys already awakened and all that kind of stuff, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to check out all the affiliate links in the description. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. And till next time, you guys. Deuces.